So, first of all, we want to welcome you. I'm here with my fabulous sister, the incredible Dr. Johnnetta Betsch Cole. Sis, you want to say hello?
I would say the warmest possible greeting to each and every sister online. Thank you. You made a choice, and it was a choice to be here as opposed to, I suspect, a list that is incredibly long in terms of other things you could be doing. So, Snowden and I are very grateful for your choice.
We are indeed. And this is Women's Her Story Month, the last couple of days of that. And so that's a particularly important one for all of us to acknowledge the accomplishments of women and what an important role you make as women in the world and that you will continue to make in the world. And we are acknowledging that. Sis, I know a question that many people have raised is they just want to check in on you and see how you're doing.
Mhm. Well, I can't say how I'm doing without first saying how grateful I am that so many of you, my dearest sister friends, have been checking on me. It means an enormous amount to me or to anyone who's having a health challenge, just to be checked on. My health continues to be a challenge. But day by day, no, I don't think so. I know I'm making progress. And that is due to the grace, I would say the amazing grace of God and the exceptional medical attention I'm getting from the Mayo Clinic. So thank you, each of you, for your thoughts, your best wishes. And let me just round that out by saying a part of why I am doing better is because this hard head of mine finally got it penetrated with messages that you were giving all along, some of you with a message my mother gave many years ago. You got to take care of yourself. And I've probably quoted my shero Audre Lorde on this question before. But a good a good set of words are always worth repeating. Audre Lorde, that beloved and powerful Black woman, lesbian, poet, professor, and she would say warrior, use these words. Taking care of myself is not self indulgence, it is self preservation. It is a political act! Exclamation. So back to you, sis.
Well, what that brings us to a really important point when we were discussing, Johnnetta and I were discussing what we were going to talk about today with you. All of us, particularly if you watch the news, but even if you only get it through social media, have been subject to vicarious trauma. We are at war. We have seen immigrant families be ripped apart. We've seen people be murdered by ICE. We have had a lot of trauma that we've been subject to, which means it's especially important now more than ever that we take incredibly good care of ourselves. And so here's a couple of tips to build your resilience and help you be stronger and healthier during this time. So, a reminder about the self care: get enough sleep. The World Health Organization says less than 7 hours of sleep a night is a carcinogen, a cancer-causing agent. Part of what interferes with our sleep is that we're on our phones or our laptops way too late. You need to get off of anything with blue light an hour before bedtime and not have your phone next to your head while you sleep. It's always astonishing to me when I'm leading my corporate trainings on stress and burnout prevention and resilience that people are shocked that they shouldn't have their phone next to their head, but it's literally electromagnetic frequency into your brain. Also, drink water. One of the first things to do when you wake up in the morning is to have 2 full glasses of water after you brush your teeth. 80% of North Americans are dehydrated, and we need water. If you have a 25 to 30% drop in your energy, it's likely due to water. If you have a 15% drop in your body water, you're dead. That's how important water is. We can go a long time without food, but not without water. And then getting together with friends and communing with other women, just as we are now, is such an important tool for resilience. Just recently, the World Health Organization said that loneliness is equivalent to 15 cigarettes a day in terms of damage to our bodies. So reach out to your sister friends, reach out to those that you care about, reach out to all those that you're in contact with, reach out to your loved ones, and stay in touch. Those are all tools for building resilience. So, sis, let's talk a little bit about
Hold up,
you.
sis. Let
Yep,
me add one more, if I may.
of course.
I think to that list should be added every day, just like you gotta do what Snowden has urged. Drink water, get enough sleep, don't be so dependent on that contraption, blah, blah, blah. I want to add, you got to count your blessings.
Absolutely.
I saw some words the other day that just grabbed me, and I wanted to make sure to share them. Here they are. If you don't take inventory of your blessings, ingratitude will try to steal them from you.
Mm.
And so, just like consuming water and getting sleep, I think equally important to our health and well being is counting our blessings.
I couldn't
All
agree
right.
more. Well, and the research out of Harvard is this, that if you write down 3 new things you are grateful for every day, your brain actively starts looking for more things to be grateful for. And we know that gratitude is a great antidote to contraction. So I couldn't agree with you more, sis. I think gratitude is really important. And while we're grateful for all of you, we're also grateful for all the incredible women that we have profiled during this past year, the 35 articles that were written about women making change. Sis, can you talk about maybe 3 of the women who most inspired you from our list?
Well, I am going to begin by lifting up a sister that I ask each of you to also lift up. Her name is Dolores
Hmm.
Huerta, without whom the struggle of farm workers, the struggle for the rights of people who literally pick, harvest our food, those rights would not exist. And she's always been a hero for me. And I've always had the the joy and the honor of knowing her. But right now, each of us needs to embrace her, if it is only figuratively. Because as you may have seen in the news, recently, the individual with whom she led the farm workers' unionizing effort, Cesar Chavez, has been outed as a child molester and as a molester of Dolores Huerta. At 96 years of age, she has now written and spoken out about being raped by Chavez. And yes, there is a pushback. Streets named for him, schools named for him are now being renamed. But that's a mechanical act almost. Think of what Dolores Huerta is going through. And so she is clearly and forever will be one of my sheroes. I think, sis, rather than taking time with two more, I'm going to pass it back to you because that took quite a bit of time for me to lift up Dolores Huerta. But I ask each of you to hold her close through your prayers and your good thoughts.
And we can't address this without also acknowledging all the women, and they continually come forward from the Epstein files. It's a time when I've heard it said that God is making all the crud come to the surface so that it can be cleared out. And there are so many courageous women who are speaking out and coming forward, and all those women who did come forward. And so when we know that 1 in 3 women is sexually assaulted, that's a lot of us. And the compassion and the strength and courage that each of these women, Dolores included, coming forward and sharing their truth and acknowledging what's been going on is so important. And lifting them up, and also anyone we know who's gone through that. And working on healing ourselves, because having it fester inside for all those years, I can imagine at 96 years old, wow, that's at that point in your life to come forward. So it's a time when the truth is coming out more and more, and we acknowledge that, and we salute all these women who have gone through this. I'm going to switch it a little bit and talk about some of the women that we profiled who have most inspired me in terms of the world itself. We have profiled 3 different world leaders. Claudia Sheinbaum, president of Mexico currently, Michelle Bachelet, and Jacinda Ardern from New Zealand. And what most inspired me about them is the incredible strength of purpose that they have expressed and the incredible strides that they made on behalf of women and girls in their countries, without acknowledging all the incredible backlash that they got. These women courageously pushed forward and made significant strides. We're going to open it up for a moment here, and I'd love to hear from some of you on the call, so you'd need to unmute yourselves. We'd love to hear who you have most enjoyed reading about, who has inspired you the most. So all you have to do is just unmute yourself, and we'll look forward to hearing what you have to say. Just raise your hand. You can either raise your hand electronically or just physically, and we'll notice it. But anybody that you've read about that has inspired you tremendously from our women making change. Who would like to go first? Everybody's being shy. Okay, go ahead, Mario. Yes. Oh, we're
Hello,
not
lovely
there.
ladies.
Hello.
I hope you can all hear me. I just have to say, I was inspired by the fact that you all did women making change in the first place. That was so amazing to me. And I wrote about it in my own blog because what it helped me to see is that no matter what our age, we're continuing to grow. And if we are women like you and the phenomenal Dr. Cole, then we can still expend wisdom to other women. I was just blown away when I saw that. But to answer your question outside of you two, Jane Goodall, I
Mhm.
love her. I was inspired by her story.
Why? Say more about why.
Um, I feel like she was persistent. I feel like she did the things that other women that we all do. She raised a family, she had a husband, she had a child, but she persisted in her studies and she fulfilled her purpose. One of the things that I really appreciate about her and watching her documentary was when she's putting him back into the wild after she's raised him, and he extends himself to her to hug. And
Woo.
so
Yeah.
that connection it was so empowering. So when you
Mhm.
all featured her, I'm like, okay, we all get it. We all get that connectivity that's passed from the human spirit even to the animal spirit. So I enjoyed that.
Lovely.
So
Thank you.
terrific.
That's awesome. Who else would like to share? Anybody else?
Well, while you're getting ready, I'm going to sneak in Wilma Mankiller,
Mhm.
who you all know from reading about her through Women Making Change, but you know about her just because she was such a force, not only in the struggle of indigenous women for equality, but the struggle for all people to have that priceless possession called equality that comes from respect and opportunity. So I thought you would enjoy hearing some of Wilma Mankiller's words. I was blessed to know her. This first elected chief of the Iroquois people, who is a woman. And you can imagine what it was like for her to carry the name Wilma Mankiller, and only she can explain why she was so named. But hear her words. Cows run away from the storm while the buffalo charges toward it and gets through it quicker. Whenever I'm confronted with a tough challenge, I do not prolong the torment. I become the buffalo.
Wow. Yeah, she's amazing.
Anyone else, though? Someone, and each of them, it really is sometimes hard, I think, when you're just showered with goodness to say which particular drop or stream you're the most attracted to. But anybody else with just a favorite among the sheroes? Well, I have a question that I want to put, and I know Snowden might join me in this. Did you feel that we genuinely represented the diversity in womanhood? Ooh, there's my dearest Tamara Nash.
Hey,
Good
Tamara.
afternoon. It is so wonderful to see you, Dr. Cole, and to see you also, Sister Snowden. Um, I was so inspired by every single one of the, I'll call them profiles and portraits that you presented to us, that it's very hard to choose just one. Um, and to echo what my sister friend Mario stated, the fact that you established women making change, OMG. That in and of itself is an inspiration to me, gives me hope, lets me know that our resilience, our courage, are ways in which we are committed to making a difference and our purpose. Thank you. So my appreciation is to both of you, and especially to you, Griot, Dr. Johnnetta Betsch Cole. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. We've got a very long relationship that goes way back, Tamara and I. I won't count the years, but I will tell you it goes back to the days when we were both at Spelman College. And now to be reconnected as you moved to Jacksonville is just full of joy. I'd even say pure D joy. So back at you. Anybody else? But I do want to say this before Snowden May suggested we move to another point of discussion. We reached around the world. And a day or so ago, when I got an email from Nancy Morejon, one of the most beloved poets, a black Cuban woman, sending me an email that wasn't addressing women making change. But I know these profiles have been reaching Nancy in Cuba because of how she sent what she sent to me. And so I don't know from other truly embattled places around the world right now how many women we have been reaching. But if we reached only one or two, the work was so well worth doing.
And sis, back to your original question about the diversity, for those of you watching and participating with us, we made a very concerted effort and to be as diverse as possible. And we had a list of many other women we wanted to profile as well, but we really endeavored to represent around the world and represent as much as possible on every level of diversity. And so, yes, there were many other women we would love to have profiled that we had planned to share with and to share with you that we didn't get to, but we feel like we did. Dana Johnson wants to say something. Dana, go right ahead.
Hello, very quickly. I wasn't going to speak. I have a cold, so if I cough, please excuse me. I am so honored to be here among you ladies. It is such an honor to answer the first question. Dr. Edie Jataka was the most influential person for me, just because of her advocacy. She's not performative. I did not know who she was prior to Win with Black Women, and I received this invitation during the election to join the call. And when I joined and I saw all of the women coming together and I saw her power, her voice, how strategic she was, and how quickly the momentum gained, it was very inspirational. So I identify with her personality. I identify with her calling. I was most inspired by her. To answer your question, Dr. Cole, yes, you guys, you ladies did a very great job at representing women globally.
Thank you.
You
Yes,
know, sis,
go ahead.
I just need to say this. One of the struggles that I think becomes especially difficult in these troubled times that we are in. Let me see if I can find the words to say what I'm feeling so deeply. But it's the struggle to do two things without minimizing the importance of either. And one is to be deeply connected with your own identities. Whether that is, and you lift up in particular being Black or a woman or a lesbian or poor, but simultaneously to connect with individuals who are not in your particular marginalized community or communities. And let me just be really clear and straightforward. For someone like me, that means simultaneously being deeply rooted in the struggles of Black folk, but refusing to turn away from being in the struggle that women have, and particularly then what Black women face. But then, thirdly, always looking for commonalities and, yes, differences in other struggles, whether they are of individuals in the LGBTQ plus community, those struggling against anti-Semitism, those no less struggling against Islamophobia. And so there are forces really pulling at us with this outrageously destructive falsehood that you must be only one place with one group forevermore. And if for no other reason, it seems to be that that is a falsehood. Because if our ultimate aim, and it is mine, is for us to get back to having our goal as the strengthening of American democracy, there is no single group that can do that alone. So in some ways, what I've just said, and forgive the length of time it took me to say it, but that is really what was behind what Snowden and I did in organizing Women Making Change.
And it was our very clear intention when we sat together a year ago last March during Women's History Month, Her Story Month, to continue to bring hope. And seeing, now it's close to 500,000 women who lost their jobs in the past year, to see that they continue to have hope. And what we're seeing now is a huge resurgence in entrepreneurship, and particularly for women, thank God. And so that was so much of our intention, was to continue to bring hope and to keep women uplifted and to share uplift with all of you, with stories of other women who've gone through it. I mean, one of the things, I don't know about you, sis, but one of the things that really struck me in every single story that we told is how much each of them overcame. So many of them overcame so much, just like each of us. Each of us has overcome so much. Each of us deals with different challenges in our lives, often without people even being aware of what those challenges are. We go about our work, we live our lives, and people may never know the trauma. They may never know the difficulties, but women are strong. And we believe that women have a massive impact on the future and a massive impact on the world. I wanted to share with you a quote from Mahatma Gandhi that I loved because it gave me so much hope. When I despair, I remember that all through history, the way of truth and love have always won. There have been tyrants and murderers, and for a time, they seem invincible. But in the end, they always fall. Think of it. Always. Looks like my sis may be having some technical difficulties, so her son is helping out. But I thought that quote was so significant because what we're dealing with right now in this country and in the world is a time of great challenge. And when I talk to other folks around the country, around the world, and they ask about what's happening with us, we talk about what's happening. And the most important thing that Johnnetta and I believe is to not give up hope, to keep going. Very, very important. And each of you has so many gifts to share and so many talents to share that we want to make sure that you continue to do that and to not give up. Sis, are you back?
I'm back.
Okay.
Sorry for the little
No
technical
problem.
difficulty,
Okay.
but I was hearing, even though I was off
Great.
camera. Let me just use some words now that come from the Seneca people, an indigenous people. Injustice never rules forever.
Mm.
And so I know for Snowden and for me, part of what keeps us going is the long view. No matter how dark the night, says an African proverb, the morning will come. And so a part of what each of us has the responsibility to do is never to give up hope and never to stop being active in whatever way you describe activism. Whatever you're doing, just continue to do it. Anyone else want to sort of weigh in on what Snowden and I have been saying and sharing in these particularly last minutes? If not, then sis, is back to you to lead us to our next point.
Well, this is a different angle on it, but it goes hand in hand. And that is how each of you defines success. Love to hear from each of you in terms of what success means to you, because it's different for everyone. Yes, Mario.
Well, first, let me say success is never about money to me because I don't have any. But it's a shame. I don't have any. But For me, success is very holistic. The if a woman is able to define who she is, kind of like what the Honorable Dr. Cole was saying earlier, if we can identify ourselves, if we can respect and acknowledge our strengths and our weaknesses, and then use those things to not only energize and guide ourselves, but then also to bring that into our relationships with our families, our husbands, our children, and then our sister friends, and then the outside of world. To me, that's success. Being able to make a difference, to have a purpose, and to utilize it. That's what it is to me.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
To have a purpose
Hmm.
and to utilize it. I tell you what I particularly love about that. You can't, you can't do the first of what our sister Mario has mentioned without doing the latter. Not speaking about purpose, but carrying it out. Yeah.
Vanessa chatted in the chat. She said, I agree with you, Dr. Cole. I'm especially grateful to be in your presence and be reminded of these truths. Morning always comes, and we should continue to bring value where we can. Success is not having regrets at the end of the day. That's what Vanessa wrote.
Mhm. Mhm.
Who else would like to share how they define success? Just raise your hand or you can comment in the chat. Yes, we have KK.
It's Twyla. Hello,
Twyla. Oh,
everyone.
that's Twyla. Sorry.
Hello.
It's okay. I define success in many ways. Like the top of the list for me is peace. Do I feel calm and peaceful on a daily basis? That is success for me because I live a hectic life and making sure that I'm on purpose in that peace because I live a hectic life, but I still want to make impact. I still want to fulfill my purpose, but do I have peace in doing that? Which follows into like people, are my relationships healthy and fulfilling? And so that is how I have been living my success. And then you add in on top of that too, just personal growth. Am I growing? Am I developing? Am I becoming or am I staying the person that I want to be?
Mm. Mm. Beautifully said. Thank you.
Mhm. Thank you, Twyla. Velma writes, success to me is making a difference in proximity with others.
Oh, Sister Velma. I love that last phrase, in proximity with others. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Hi, everyone. This is Taylor Barfield. I would define success as being comfortable in my own skin in the situation. So I think success, a lot of people think about the financial aspect or the business aspect or your career. But in all things, I think it's important that I'm comfortable. So when you think about your home life, sometimes you want it to be clean and so you can just relax, and that is a level of comfort. If I am able to maintain my space and maintain what it is that I'm working on and feel good, I think that that's a success. So I would define it overall as being comfortable in your skin whenever it is that you're accomplishing whatever it is that you're working on.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Hmm. And Taylor, I think what you're also talking about is authenticity.
Absolutely.
Very much being authentic and true to yourself in terms of who you really are.
Absolutely. And thank you both for holding this space too. I know I know we'll get to that at the end, but I appreciate it because it's great to just be able to come together, hear from you all, hear from each other, and then collaborate on these topics. Thank you.
You are so, so welcome. But imagine, if you will, if Snowden and I wrote these wonderful profiles of sheroes and never shared them. And so, with all that has been said, it does seem to me that the ability to share, first having a commitment to share, is so fundamental to feeling success. And each of you, because you signed up and you were there with us and for us. That's why Women Making Change was, I think, a success.
Anybody else want to share their definition of success? Yes, Candace.
I was just sitting here thinking, and I love what everybody said, and I just want to piggyback and say, success for me is stepping outside of my comfort zone
Mhm.
and allowing myself, giving myself permission to step out of that comfort zone and make a difference and an impact on the people that I surround myself with, and that would be the students that we serve.
Mm.
That's wonderful. Outside of your comfort zone, that's a great statement because I think that's how we all grow is stepping outside of our comfort zone. And when we do that, there are so many rewards for it. So thank you, Candace. Wanda Ford says, success is living my truth spiritually, personally, and professionally, and ensuring my truth is aligned with God's plan for me. Mm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And then I'm sorry, I have to put on my glasses here. Camila, what a joy it is to receive Women Making Change newsletters. Dr. Cole always brings nuggets of wisdom, and I'm encouraged by her words to bring value where we can. Success for me is increasingly includes being of service to my community. It's great. And Melinda says success is accomplishing what I set out to do.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
So excellent. Yes, Tamara.
This may come across as a little bit unusual, but the welcome mat in front of my home has three words that I live by. And they are live, laugh, and love. And since I firmly believe and know from experience that God, a higher power, is love, love is what impacts everything that I do and how I feel about me, because I love me first and then I love hundreds, thousands of others. And so to live, laugh, and love, that is success to me.
Mm.
My education, what I've accomplished, all of that is a blessing. But the way I live my life on purpose, knowing what my purpose is and truly living it is success.
Mm.
And one more thing, health is our wealth. And so to be healthy is a blessing every day, and to be able to say thank you for every day, to appreciate everything, every blessing, that is success.
Thank you. Beautiful, Tamara. I am reminded of a book called Life After Life, where all these different people had near-death experiences. And they may have had slightly different descriptions of who they met after they went through a tunnel of light, but all of them were asked the same two questions. And the questions were, how have you increased your capacity to love? And what wisdom have you gained to live your life in a more uplifting manner? And I think those two questions are fairly profound.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, we spend not just, I think, in American culture in general, but in many cultures, assuming that every time we hear the word love, it only is about what we associate with a romantic relationship. But when I look around the world and put on my lenses as an anthropologist, many people also, when they stop to think about that word, move very quickly from its connotations about a romantic relationship. And it comes down almost to the most fundamental, basic attribute that every human being should have. And that is the ability to love others. And I think that in this time when there is so much divisiveness, so much pitting, one group of people against another, and when there is certainly just endless assaults on marginalized people by those in power, we got to spend a lot of time making sure we don't cease to be in love.
Mm.
In love with justice. Because if we are, then that means we are not in love with injustice. Being in love with individuals who are fundamentally, in the ways that we tend to characterize people, different from ourselves. I mean, if I were looking for a shorthand for what the struggle is about, then for me, the struggle is about the necessity to love, yes, my God, myself, my family. I am in a relationship with a wonderful man, my husband, my friends. But it's also about my ability as a human being to love those who are fundamentally or in fundamental ways or in ways that ultimately should not matter, so different from me. That ability to get outside of what you identify as your primary community of association, of struggle, and to find some degree of empathy, concern, understanding, fundamentally love of people who are so different from you. My. As one would say in my kind of church that I grew up in. It's not the one I attend now, but I grew up in it. My. That has got to be the most priceless ability that a human being could have, and the most meaningful gift that the world can receive from any of us.
Dana, I know you have had your hand up for a bit.
Go. For me, success is making sure, well, at this stage, because it's changed over the years, I agree with all of the ladies, but at this stage in my life, for me, success is making sure that I'm accountable and ensuring that I achieve a level of self actualization and of awareness to make sure that I do no man any harm and making sure that I remain able to serve in my highest and best use.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Jamie Watkins wrote, success for me is praying and being in God's will at all times and allowing him to lead me even when it has taken me out of my comfort zone. These are all wonderful. Anybody else in the remaining few minutes we have want to share about success or anything that you want to share? Does anybody have a question of us you would like to ask? Let's see. Vanessa says, I'm from Haiti. My grandmother used to sing Le bonheur est moi, or happiness is in me, being able to appreciate who we are and not feeling threatened by others.
Oh,
Mm.
beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Mario, you had your hand up?
I really try to do my best in terms of celebrating other women. But my question now, especially with everything that Dr. Cole was talking about, all of the divisiveness in the world, how would you say that we can still continue to speak our authentic voice? How do we express that authentic voice so that it really makes a difference? I mean, I get what you all were doing with women making a change, and even what I'm trying to do with my blog, but we've got AI now, we've got weird, how do I say, we've got men in power that just are ultra insensitive. So, how do we still maintain and speak our authentic voice?
So I'll give you my answer first. I think it's really important. It's critically important that now more than ever, we do speak our own truth and we do speak up because that's what they want. They want us to be silent. They want us to be quiet. They want us to give up hope, and we cannot do that. So being true to yourself and speaking your own truth and knowing that even if you just touch one person, Mario, just one, the ripple effects, you have no idea the thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of people that those ripple effects, where it goes and how it can happen. So keep on keeping on.
It's powerful. I mean, thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, there is something that must surely strike a lot of you, my dearest sisters, as a contradiction in what I'm saying and what Snowden has been saying through women making change, and even in this conversation this afternoon. And I'll put it in blunt language. I've called for us to love across differences. So, does that mean that I am called to love an autocrat
Mhm.
who is now in a position of power in my country? And my answer is I feel called to love every human being's right to be a human being. But that does not include loving behavior that is destructive to other human beings. And that may seem convoluted, but I really see no contradiction there. No, I will not express love for despicable behavior, but I will say that there is no human being that I will hate and use force to destroy. Is that helping at all, Mario? Because I think you really raised a very fundamental conundrum for all of us. All of us who, in whatever way, are in struggles. Right now, there is so much ugliness, so much disrespect of others. If you want to use heavy language, so much racism, sexism, heterosexism, and you know the rest of those systemic ways of belittling, hurting, and even destroying others. And to come in response to all of that with a commitment to love ain't easy, because I think you've got to make that distinction between refusing yourself to hate, because that's ultimately going to destroy you.
Exactly.
Refusing yourself to hate, and perhaps increasing your ability to love.
Mhm.
You all know how much I love Proverbs, and I could give you a handful of them about love. But I'm thinking right now of such a simple proverb in terms of language that the Burundi people of Africa use. And they say, where there is love, there is no darkness.
We love you all. We are now at the end of our hour. We are so grateful that you joined us. We wish you nothing but joy and lots of love, and we are so grateful that you were here.
Love, love, and more love to each of you.